Hey, my name is Harvey Harrington, and I want to thank you for watching Dream Chasers podcast today. Now, not only can you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, you can watch it on YouTube at Dream Chasers Basketball Indie. I want to encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy the show.
From Dahntay Jones, we just picked him up. He's the luckiest man in the world, I'll tell you that. Months ago. No, but seriously, true professional. You know, competing against this guy, you always knew that you got to be locked in. Every time he stepped on the floor. And then when he got on the team, you just saw how great of a teammate he was. And also another guy that will give anything. And you guys saw that in our game 6 at home. J.R. Smith picks up 3 fouls. Iman Shumpert picks up 3 fouls. RJ had 3 fouls at halftime. And Coach Lou and myself and Kyrie, we had a lot of faith in Dahntay, and Dahntay had faith in himself and gave us a huge boost to close out that quarter in game 6. So thank you, Dahntay.
New Chanel, mama and Gucci, got out the hoop, yeah. Been through hell, carried the, life is a movie, yeah. We prevail, now we do the groupies, don't do the groupies, yeah. Got money for bail, don't act like you know me, knock off your koofy, yeah. Flooded the rollie with Ethan, Hurricane Katrina the beamer, blowing the money like FEMA. I got a flex in the sleepers, they tryna do me like Caesar. You gotta watch for the creepers, I got that high in the steam.
As by Dream Chasers, I got my cousin on the show today, Dahntay Jones, Duke alum, 2016 world champion. Dahntay Jones was cracking.
Harvey Harrington, how are you today, brother?
How you doing, man?
You told me I gotta be serious today, so you know what I'm saying?
wanted to be serious for the interview.
I gotta be an adult.
Oh my gosh! All right, so hey, man, tell me about your beginnings in Jersey, man. What'd you do besides basketball? When did you decide to pick it up seriously? What are your talents other than basketball, man?
So I started playing T-ball, was trash. Didn't really like it. I don't like being outside.
Right.
I was trash. So then we moved to football.
Right.
I played some Pop Warner football, and I think I got cracked in the rain, and it was like raining, and it was dumb cold.
Right.
And the dude hit me, and, and my knee went out, and I was like, you know what? This ain't for me. So that was like, I was in what, like 6th, 7th grade.
Okay.
Got cracked, moved on after that, 6th grade, moved on, and then started hooping. And I started hooping in like the 6th grade. My pops was like my YMCA coach.
Right.
And then just fell in love. I had been hooping like just like normal kid stuff, but that was my first basketball team, like 6th grade, and was cool on there. Then I moved to my middle school team.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the bench, I had like a 7th grade. My middle school team, I had like a size 14 shoe, so I was about 5'7",
right,
with a 14. Thought my life was over.
Right.
Moved to 8th grade, 5'8" with a 15.
Right.
Into the bench. The worst thing in the world for me was a breakaway layup because these things could trip and I could embarrass myself. So
Right.
so yeah, my summer going into to 9th grade, I had a crazy growth spurt.
Okay.
And we had moved to a whole nother city. So we moved from West Windsor Plainsboro to back to the city of Trenton, back to Hamilton.
Right.
And I check in school like the first day, and I'm like 6'3" and a half, 6'4".
Right.
So like my body had caught up to me at that point in time, and so now I'm basically starting varsity basketball because now I can really do something. And then it's been like ever since then I started making my goals at that point in time because like I didn't go to a basketball school, so I was going to be the first basketball dude to come out of there, and it just snowballed after that. Just me putting the time and the effort into it, and and it's taken me around the world. So
Right.
it's been good to me.
Man, when did the athleticism kick in? I think I don't know if a lot of people really remember how athletic you was, man. When did that come in for you?
My athleticism kicked in probably. I started dunking at that point in time, like my 8th grade summer when I grew. But
Right.
it was a constant work on it. I was doing, I'm doing calf raises like crazy. Remember strength shoes was popping in, and I
Right.
was doing strength shoes all day long. I was just trying to work at it just to try and get something going because I wanted to dunk. And then it kicked in like my end of my freshman year. Like I started being a little bit different than most people that could dunk.
Right.
And then I just kept working at that and staying in the weight room. My team had a coach that kept us in the weight room, so
Okay.
I was doing a lot of different things like football stuff and then
Right.
transition to some basketball stuff. But I was doing lifting probably from like 9th to 12th grade, and then by the time I ended my 12th grade year, I was like what 6'6", 25 pounds, like straight muscle.
Right.
So it was just it was a continuous process of just like working
Right.
because that's what lifting wasn't popping back then. Like team basketball dudes wasn't lifting heavy, and that's one of the benefits I had. My high school coach had us in the weight room.
Got you. When did it become real for you? Like when did you know like you was that dude? I mean, I know you said you was at a school that wasn't a basketball school, but when did you know like, man, I do this?
So me and your brother, we thick as thieves. So
Right.
when I started playing AAU sophomore year, ran into your brother.
Right.
Your brother was trash, and you know that. And that was my guy. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like we popped up and we was gonna hoop together. We gonna be trash together. Like I mean, we together.
It was gonna be bad together.
And then he had that one summer where he just like turned from
Turned up
rags to riches,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then he became the number one player in our class in the state, and number one player in the country.
Right.
And then I saw him do that.
Mhm.
I started working a little bit harder. We started going to AUC. Now I'm anywhere from 2 to 3, and we rocking together.
Right.
And now at this point in time, I just want to play basketball in college. Like he
Right.
had different sets of goals. He had different goals than me.
Right.
But I wanted to play basketball in college. So then I started getting recruiting letters, and I wanted to go to Georgetown. I wanted to be like Allen Iverson and all that.
Right.
And got my letters and got my scholarship offers.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to do. I want to go to college and I want to be a doctor.
Right.
I wasn't really thinking about being
Professional.
going to the NBA, but
Right.
obviously that was my dream as a kid. But like now, when you get in high school and you start like really think about what you want to do, I didn't have that as my second goal.
Right.
And I remember I was at his draft party, right?
Right.
And his draft party, it was disappointing because he thought he was going to go earlier,
Right.
and he was upset. And when he got drafted, like gave the hugs out. He said, "When you coming?" And I was like, "When I'm coming."
Right.
I'm going to school next year, bro. Like So he first planted that seed in my head, like we both gonna do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then he stayed on me actually. So I'm at Duke. I'm taking my summers and I'm going to work out with him in Sarasota and like NBA training. And now I'm competing against NBA dudes. So now I start slowly putting that as my goal, like next, like, you know what? I could do this. And
Right.
then he was like, "When you coming out?" And I'm like, "Man, what you mean?" And he was like, "You got NBA scouts that come to your practices. Like my organization was talking about you. Like,
Right. Right.
and I did not know that. I was just hooping for the love. You know what I mean? Like I was just in school. So then now I start taking it seriously. That's when I started thinking about transferring because I wanted to win and I wanted to really like now I want to be a first round pick. Like now that I know that people looking at me.
Right.
And then I started making my goal that, but it wasn't my goal going into college. Like I wasn't saying like I'm gonna do 1 year, I'm gonna do 2
Right.
years, going to the league. I was going to get my education and to be a doctor.
So let's back it up. Let's talk about Rutgers. All right. What made you choose Rutgers?
Because number one, my coach at Rutgers was the coach at Rider. So Rider was the college that my teams were going to camp at down in Jersey. So I had a relationship with him, and he was recruiting me at my infancy stages.
Right.
So then when he moved to Rutgers, which is a Big East school, I had already had Georgetown on my list.
Right.
And he had got the job at Rutgers because he did such a great job at Rider.
Right.
And my parents actually worked on Rutgers campus.
Okay.
So my parents worked for Johnson & Johnson, management level employees. but the main campus is in New Brunswick on Rutgers campus.
Right.
So it all added up. Like my parents would come see me play. My parents would just leave work.
Right.
In 7 minutes, they could come see me play. You know what I mean? So that's why I started thinking about that. And it was New Jersey's home school. So I was thinking about Rutgers and Seton Hall, Georgia Tech with your brother.
Right.
So we had Seton Hall and Georgia Tech as both of our schools because we thought about playing together. Then I had Rutgers. And then when he decided he was going to go pro, Seton Hall and Georgia Tech, they were on my list because of him. They both got knocked down.
Right.
And then that relationship I had with Rutgers, I had like Troy Murphy was supposed to come and play with me.
Right.
Rodney White was supposed to come play with me.
Right.
Will Solomon.
Mm.
Who else? It was like 4 other pros. Jason Williams had that on his list because of me.
Right.
So it was a bunch of dudes that was supposed to come play and kind of like revive that New Jersey school because Rutgers is a great university, number one.
Right.
And number two, it was just like the infancy stages of just basketball. They were trying to have a resurgence. So I just was the first one to try and cap it off.
Got you. What made you leave? Obviously going to almighty Duke is a no-brainer, but what made you go?
Well, winning was at like the forefront. I wanted to go to the NCAA tournament. I wanted to win. I wanted to do all those things.
Right.
We playing against like Seton Halls and the St. John's and the UConns and
right.
all those guys got like real basketball devoted people. And not that I didn't like my teammates. I loved my teammates, but like half of them were students. Like they weren't really trying to take it as seriously. And when it clicked for me to be serious,
right.
like it all the way clicked. It wasn't so I couldn't take people not being as serious as I was.
Right.
So like off season came after my freshman year, and dudes was we were in NIT, and I remember dudes had flights booked before the game to go on spring break. Right. So like that's what we on. Like that we're not trying to win this.
Right.
I was like, we going
to right.
We going to Florida after this. So I mean, so that's like kind of like started making me mad that my coach had gotten into some small little recruiting violations before I had got there.
Right.
And it was hard to recruit. So now Jason Williams is coming up, and like that overshadowed one of the little bit he had got into. Jay Wilcat Duke and Rutgers is the last 2 schools. He chose Duke just because of the small stuff he got into. Rodney White missed his test, so there's another recruiting class of just not as much talent it's going to take for us to get there. I think we got Luis Flores, who ended up being a pro, but Lou ended up having to transfer because the situation just wasn't right for him. So then I'm stuck with, like, Lou was as serious as I was, but it just ended up being like I had Ty Bill, Lou, Rashad Kent. Those guys were really serious about basketball, but the rest were like it's not a discredit to them, but it's just that they were students. They were preparing for life.
Right.
So I opened it up. My dad saw that I wasn't happy. I wasn't myself, and he had snuck into a practice because he was down the street, like on his like lunch break. He came over, snuck into a practice, and he pulled me over after and was like, "Yo, like, are you even happy?
Right. What's going on?
Like, what's going on with you?" And I was like, I couldn't give him an answer. And he was like, "Man, we out of here, man."
Right.
He was like, he had already started fielding like what the situation was, because he thought that it would be better for me to get out of there, just being my dad. So we had put together a list of schools, and one of my best friends at the time was Joe Forte.
Okay.
And so I had North Carolina on my school. I'm on my list. I had Arizona. I had Cincinnati. I had Georgia Tech with Paul Hewitt back again. And I was going through those schools like, and I was stuck in my dorm room too, because like I'm a 60,000 student school. Like I'm the basketball dude. Everybody asking me, they getting whiffs. I'm supposed to be transferring. The governor called me. Teachers pressuring me. My coaches was on my back, and me and my mother went in there, asked for my release. Got my release, and then that's when like the real pressure started kicking in. So then they heard that I had recruiting visits set up, And my pops is like, "Yo, Duke called and they want you to come in." And I was like, "Nah, I'm good. Like, I don't rock with them like that.
Right.
That ain't my speed. Those are the dudes that I want to be involved with.
Right.
Like all the stuff that you see on TV, all the assumptions that you make." And he was like, "Nah, you that's what you gonna take that visit."
Right. For
So
sure.
me being a kid, I took that visit first,
Right.
trying to be a jerk because in my mind I knew I was going to North Carolina, right?
Right.
And I took it, and then like Coach K, like did just that. When I remember walking in, the first thing you see the whole basketball team. It's spring, whole basketball team getting after it, about to fight.
Right.
You know what I mean, like they actually getting after it.
Right.
And and then I was like, I was kind of locked in. Then you
Right.
get to Coach K, and he started talking, and me and him on a line, like we wanted the most hated schools in the country.
Right.
All I care about is winning. I know what you're thinking. I got 8 McDonald's All-Americans. Where do you fit in? He was like, everybody got to compete. If you earn a spot, you earn a spot.
Right.
And that's all I was in my mind as a competitor. All I wanted was the opportunity to play. I didn't want anything guaranteed. I wanted to be a pro. I figured if I go here and I can do it, I could be a pro. Like
Right.
I'm not trying to hide. I want to go to national. I want to win a national championship. I want to go to the tournament. I want to experience everything everybody else is, and this would give me the best shot to do it.
Right.
I know I'm coming in a little behind the 8 ball, but it is what it is. And I would have been the second transfer ever. He kind of made me feel like I was special.
Right.
And I signed up right there.
Right.
But no, I gave him a commitment between me and him, right? So then I leave there and I go to your brother's house.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Yo, so you gonna come out?" And I was like, he's like, "Yo, you could, here go the list." He like, this is before the internet was like really, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like he had privy information, like he had it from his scouts. Like, you could be a 2nd round pick right now.
Right.
And I was like, nah, I just kind of want to do this a little bit. Like, I think I'm gonna go to this school.
Right.
I'm gonna go to Duke. He was like, "Why? Like, what you like? Might as well just come on out and do this."
Right.
My mind was set up. I was going to Duke. So then I committed, went to Duke, and then the rest is history.
Gotcha, man. What was that like playing for Coach K, man? I mean,
Awesome.
what is he really like behind the scenes?
Coach K is like my grandfather passed when I was about 12,
Right.
11, 12, and he's like the ultimate grandfather. Like he is hardworking. He though all the coaches I've ever had in my entire life, like he's still number one because he can do it all. He can motivate. He can X and O. He can he can cover all the bases that make a coaches great individually. Like you find a coach that's great at X and O's, but he's not good personally with the kids. You find a coach that is a great motivator, but he has somebody else behind him as X and O. Coach K was like all of that in one, and he was genuine. And he taught life lessons as well as basketball lessons. He taught time and score, but he also taught what it's going to take for you to be a successful man.
Right.
And he's the one that put that fire in me. That the reason why people hate me today on the basketball court is because he was like, "Listen, if you want to actually take this and be a 10, 15-year pro, you're going to have to play with a chip on your shoulder." And that's what he did every night, was kind of like tick me off to teach me how to create my own chip on my shoulder, rather than, because once he saw that once I had a chip on my shoulder, like it was nothing you could do with me, like on the defense and offensive end. But if I played like cool and satisfied, then I was going into that normal stage of just okay basketball players. So he kept motivating me, kept messing with me. My mother hates me to this day because she thought he was just picking on me. But now as a man, as you look back and you motivating your sons and like you see like what he was really doing, teaching you how to compete.
Right. What was them practices like? I mean, was y'all
practice was fun. Okay. If you compete, like it's fun. Like you got people as good as you or better than you.
Right.
And he let you go. Like he was skills. We did so much skill development, not in practice. And by the time we got to practice, we got so much talent. It's like, go. So imagine my redshirt year. You got a team that won a national championship. You got Shane Battier, Mike Dunleavy, Chris Duhon, Jason Williams.
Right.
You got all those on one team. Right. And then you got me, Daniel Ewing. Chris may come over and play with us a little bit, but we got a couple McDonald's All-Americans with me, and we just getting after it. and we winning our fair share. Like it's kind of evenly matched because I'm on the scouting team. So if we playing Clemson, I'm the number one scorer on Clemson. I'm running all the stuff running through me. So like we getting after it. I got to guard Shane Battier. I make sure Shane don't touch it. Right. And that was because that was the only games that I had. So I had to treat every practice like it was a game. So it was super fun because Coach K just let the dogs loose and just let us just get after it and compete. And that's all it was about, competition. Just if you compete at a high level, and I competed everything from dominoes to spades to checkers. You know what I mean? Like I got to win all of it. If you compete, like you his man.
Right. So talk about the draft, man. When did you get drafted? And I know just like what you said with Al, they told him one thing and then they got down the line and, they didn't draft him here, they didn't draft him there. And then finally the Pacers picked him up. What was told to you?
So the draft process was crazy because, so I transferred to Duke, right? And I sat out a year. I told you we played the national championship team. That was the national championship year. And after that year, like I was on a board of being a lottery pick because you had all the scouts was coming to practice watching the Shane and the Mikes and the Jay Wills, who were top in the country. And you got this kid that's destroying them, going at them. So they had me on the board as being a lottery pick, and me and Coach had a conversation, and I was like, I'm coming back. I want to play. So I had pressure at that point in time to come out, came back. We lose. We were number one the whole year. We lose in the, I think, Sweet 16, and had a pressure again. And I was like, no, I really want to be a part of a championship level team. I had just finished my degree too. Because I had sat out a year too, so I had my degree is finished, and I was like, I just want to try this one more time. I started college a year behind everybody else, so I started college at 17. So I had that year, so I was everybody's age at that point in time. So I figured I had been in college already. Let me just try it one more time. We had 5 freshmen coming in that were like top recruiting class in the country. It had been my team. I had unfinished business, so I could have came out and been a first round pick then. Do my senior year, come out. And then now I had waited so long that they had me like as a high second round pick. But when I saw my agent Arn tell him, he was like, listen, once you get in the way you compete, and once you get in the workouts, you'll be fine. We'll make this work. So no, I do. I just put my hard hat on, went and trained, got ready, and I did like 21 workouts and like 30 to 22 workouts in 30 days. And I was on a tour. I was on a circuit. Like I went from New York to Utah to Texas to LA. Like I was getting after it. And I wanted to see everybody from Dwayne Wade, Josh Howard, Keith Bogans, Kyle Korver. Like I wasn't running from nothing. Like I wanted all the smoke. And then at that point in time, I just started slowly rising up on the draft board. And Leandro Barbosa, like Troy Bell. I remember being in a workout with me, Leandro Barbosa, Troy Bell, and D Wade, and we were playing 2-on-2 in Memphis. And me and Troy Bell was like getting after D Wade and Barbosa. And Hubie Brown came down and was like, listen, just like cussing out D Wade and them because we was like really getting after him. So my last 2 workouts was Utah. I went to Atlanta. I went to like LA, then Utah. Utah was the day before the draft. So I finished that thinking that was gonna be my last one. And when I got off the court, my agent called me and was like, listen, Atlanta want to bring you back for a second workout by yourself because if you do well, they'll guarantee you at 21. So I get on the plane right after that. I'm exhausted. I land probably like 2 a.m. They bringing me in at like a 10 a.m. workout. I remember going on the court for my last workout by myself in front of the management group and the coaching staff. And the ownership group was probably like 6-7 members at that point in time. So it's like 20 people in the gym. I'm working out by myself. I'm on workout 22 of 30 days. I'm living out of a suitcase. I'm nervous. You know what I mean? It's draft day. And I do this workout, and I remember going, the cooler was across the court. I finished my workout with Dominique Wilkins, go across the court, I go get a Gatorade, and I just start busting in tears because I was exhausted, and like all the emotions of life was just coming at this point in time. And when I walked back over, I got myself together, walked back over, they were like, listen, man, we want you here. We guarantee that we'll draft you at 21.
Right.
So I'm getting on this plane knowing that I'm going at 21.
Right.
So I get to New York. I get to my hotel. The draft is just starting. I'm trying to get dressed and all that, knowing that 21 is coming. And about 18, 19, I got a call from my agent. He was like, "Listen, Memphis is trying to swap picks to get you at 20." So then we hurried up and like tried to get dressed, and got the call and tried to shoot down to Madison Square Garden because I had an opportunity to go walk across the stage at this point in time.
Right.
And I got there just as they was calling my name. So like they called my name and I went to the back because I didn't get a chance to walk the stage.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. So Memphis, man, what was that like, man? Because I know that team was you guys kind of building. I know y'all was decent, but y'all was building. From what I remember, it was okay.
My first 2 years, we had won 60 games.
Y'all won 60 games in Memphis? I might need to do my research.
So
what was that like?
It was a different age than it is now, right? Because now you got the kid that just signed a G League contract and he'll get a chance to develop.
Right.
Me and Troy Bell got drafted to a team with like all veterans. So they got Earl Watson at the point guard, Jason Williams at the point guard,
exactly, right.
Bonzi Wells, Mike Miller, Shane Battier, James Posey.
Oh yeah,
those are the guys all ahead of me, right?
Okay, right.
So I got all super vets like prime in their career. Like Miller wins a 6-man of the year in that rotation. James Posey had just signed a $50 million deal. Shane Battier had just signed a $50 million deal. Bonzi Wells is like Portland Bonzi, like coming off that. So now you got a rookie as the fifth wing on that thing, and QB Brown, old school coach, didn't rock with rookies like that. But he was fair though. So he taught, he was fair. And there were opportunities I got a chance to play, but it wasn't like it is now to where like if you're not playing, you get to go to G League and work on your game and play, get that frustration out. You just work in practice, sit the game, work in practice, sit the game. You get 2 minutes. You get 2 minutes. The injured reserve was 5-game minimum at that point in time. So if you're on IR, you got to sit the whole 5. Somebody get hurt, and you in game 3, like you got 2 more games before you have the opportunity to play. You know what I mean? So that it was kind of tough because you're playing against so many guys that they fighting for minutes, but it's not a real way to take their minutes from.
Right. And then how long was you there for?
I was there for 4 years. So the first year was rough. Second year, I got some opportunity. I ended up starting a playoff series versus the Suns. We played first year. I think we played San Antonio. So we ran San Antonio in the first round. They washed us. Right. Second year, we ran to the Phoenix Suns with Amari Stoudemire and Joe Johnson and them. They washed us, and Steve Nash. They washed us. Right. But I ended up my second year starting a series in there because Bonzi had gotten into something with the coach. But we were just outmatched. And then my third year, I got an opportunity to get after it and got a chance to compete. Had a pretty good year. My fourth year, they traded Jason Williams, James Posey for Eddie Jones. So they kind of went into to rebuild, and they had just drafted Rudy Gay. Right. So the now it's the business side of it. They got a top 5 pick of Rudy Gay. They want him to play. We kind of play similar positions. Right. Rudy was struggling at the beginning of the year, and then they ended up firing the coach, Mike Fratello. So now I was playing, fire Mike Fratello, and then management come downstairs. The interim comes in and says, you know what? All y'all ain't starting, and the young kids are starting. So now you got Hakeem Warwick, you got Kyle Lowry, you got Rudy Gay, and they just going young when I've been here for 4 years, and they're just switching. They're saying basically they tanking. Right. So so now you got to be able to deal with that mentally, and I know I'm coming up on free agency. Right. So that 4-year period ended like that. They Jerry West ended up stepping down, who was supposed to give me my extension because like I was a part of his regime. Right. He ended up stepping down. They get a new GM, and then they just replaced everybody from PR to all departments. They just got a whole new infrastructure in. Right. And then I know you went from there. I know you went to Denver. You went to Indy. I had that year. After that year, the new GM comes in, and I was a restricted free agent, so I don't get my rights back until August when everybody else signs mostly in July. So now I'm fighting for spots, and I end up going to Boston. That's the year they won a championship, and got a little tricky in training camp. I was supposed to make the team, didn't make the team. First time getting cut in basketball, period. And and then now I'm sitting at the house, and I was about to go overseas to play in Spain.
Right.
But my new agent, I had got a new agent, Mark Barterstein, and he assigned me a deal with an NBA out. So now with this NBA out, if an NBA team calls, I can just pay a little bit of money and get out of it. Well, if my flight was at 6 a.m. on a Saturday, I got the call late Friday night that Sacramento needed a wing because Kevin Martin had got hurt. Right. So then this is December. I ended up signing with Sacramento, finished with Sacramento. And then I ended up signing with Sacramento at the trade deadline. Mike Bibby had got traded from Sacramento to Atlanta, but Atlanta had to send like 5 dudes over. Right. So they ended up cutting me, giving me my money and cutting me. And like, listen, when free agency come up, like, we're going to sign you again, but we have to, in order to receive these 5 people, we got to let all the dudes out on 1-year deals. Right. So they end up cut. And then at that point in time, I had an anxiety attack because now this is my first time not hooping. I got cut twice in the same year. Right. I'm not hooping. I can't get this frustration out, watching people play. And I remember being in the hospital back at home because I thought I was having a heart attack. So luckily the hospital was across the street from the house. Right. And thought I was having a heart attack because I could hear my heart beating. I'm in the hospital. They keep me for like a day or two. It was an anxiety attack. They were like, listen, man, how you release your stress, going over stress management and all that. And I was like, I just play basketball. Like and there's no real good places to play basketball now because everybody else at that level is, I can't go. It's like the winter time. I can't just go outside and hoop. Like it's not that many outlets of basketball. So my agent at that point in time was like, listen, the D League is finishing up. They got like 9-10 games. You could go there. Cool. If it's gonna save my life, like if it's gonna make me feel better, I'll do it. So I jumped on a plane to North Dakota. And that's where the team I was gonna play with, the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, was gonna meet me at. Right. And checked into a Best Western with my black card. They was looking at me like I was crazy, and just hooped out with them. You know what I mean? Like just had fun hooping in the D League. And I was in contract negotiations with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Denver Nuggets at that point in time. But they wanted to put me into a non-guaranteed deal and keep my rights again, like what just happened to me, keep my rights into August. And if they keep your rights and they cut you, then you don't have that many jobs open up to you. So my agent was like, it's not a fair deal if they decide to cut you. So we'll go on to free agency in the summertime. So I go into finish the G League, have fun, play hard, but the Denver Nuggets scout was at all of my games. Right. Working team. So we go into that, and Denver gave me an opportunity. It's like, listen, we know you're 27, but we want you to play summer league, and we just want you to be on our team. And between you and somebody else, like if you play better than them, we'll sign you. Period, point blank. Right. So I remember going to that, like just a man on a mission. We split the minutes, 20 minutes a game. I ended up averaging like 21, 22, and 20 minutes, beating the other dude out. And then now I signed with the Nuggets, and I signed with the Nuggets as the 12th, 13th man on a really good team with AI and JR and Melo. Right. And I remember going into training camp with them, and with the rumblings that they think about trading AI, and they trade AI like our third game, and they get Big Shot. And, Big Shot, the big homie. Right. So Big Shot come on, and so now we gotta flip Anthony Carter. And AI was starting it too. Now, Big Shot is the point and is an opening at the shooting guard. Right. And Big Shot was like, listen, Big Shot and Melo was like, listen, we're gonna start Dahntay. Right. And George rolled with it, and then I started the rest of the year. We go to the conference finals. Right. Right. Man, good deal, man. What a change you did. So like 6 months, I went from the G League to starting. In a year, the G League to starting the conference finals. Right. And then you after that run,
you came to India after that, right?
So after that run, right? So I remember now I'm in free agency. After that run, I had shoulder surgery. So I got my shoulder surgery, and where I went right after that. Me and Al. Now we live together every summer, so I'm in the house. Al doing my rehab at the house, and we're going through free agency, and he going through free agency with me because like he ain't got nothing else to do, and my team Denver didn't we were maxed out because Kenyon was making crazy money, Melo was making crazy money, Chauncey was making money, and they had a mid-level exception for me and Birdman.
Right.
And Birdman was the tallest dude on our team. We was one of only two big men. Nene was the other one. And they were like, listen, we gotta keep you, but we gotta keep Birdman too. And San Antonio threw out the mid-level to Birdman. So Birdman was going for the mid-level already.
Right.
So they was like, we gotta give Bird the mid-level, but we're gonna give you a minimum and then we got you next year. And I remember being in the house with Al, and I was like, yo, they're gonna give me $900,000. And he was like, what's your other options? And I was like, well, Indiana going to offer me like this 4-year, $12 million deal. And he was like, you serious?
Right.
I was like, but nah, I'm like those my homies. Like, that's like, they got me. He was like, man, in this game, ain't nobody really got you.
Right.
Like, that's your best offer. It was coming up on the next year was going to be the lockouts. Nobody was throwing out real money. I think that like Ron Artest got like $5 million a year. So if I'm looking at 3,
right. You
like,
doing
that's yeah, I'm doing all right, right? Because nobody was spending any money this summer.
Right.
And it's guaranteed. So at that point in time, like it took me 2 days, but he was like, man, you got to take this money, man, no matter where. So that's how I ended up going to Indy.
Right. So, man, let's get to 2016, man. So you was still playing, or what was you? I know you were still working out and stuff like that, but you wasn't playing D League or anything like that. Was you just kind of staying in shape?
So what happens is I go to training camp with the Brooklyn Nets, right? And Lionel Hollins, who used to be my coach in Memphis, was like, listen, I need a vet. I need somebody to come in and help me out and do this. So I sign on, have a great camp. And then like the last couple hours before the deadline of like, will you keep the roster final, GM calls me and it's like, listen, I'm trying to move these 2 players. It's hard for me, but like just stay connected to me because if I can't move in the next 4 hours, give me a week. I got you.
Right.
So I'm cool because that's like Jared Jack, Joe Johnson.
Right.
Like it's a solid team where I could have a role on, and they don't have nobody in my position like that.
Right.
Bogdanovich is on the team as well. So he was like, just stay close and I'm gonna make it work. 1 week turned to 2 weeks, 2 weeks turned to 3 weeks. And we in contact where he like, listen, man, I'm doing this, doing that. He ends up getting fired. So now he ended up getting fired after like 3 weeks of like in constant contact. So now I'm just the one team that I had put everything into is done. So now I'm in shape at this point in time, right? So we coming into Thanksgiving. We just had Thanksgiving. I'm like, you know what? I'm a hoop regardless. Like I'm gonna give it my last shot. So my agent was like, you go to G League and you can kind of grind it out, and you'll get called up in a month.
Right.
Because I had went the year before and went for like 20 days and got called up to the Clippers.
Right.
So I go down there, month turned to 2 months. Go home for Christmas. Go to home for Christmas break. Didn't want to All-Star break. Didn't want to come back. But I ended up sticking it out. My coaches was on me, and I came back, and I just came to work with the guys, finish the season out. We played hard, made some good relationships, had some good times. And when I got home, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna move on from basketball. That was my last year. Me and Wifey had decided that, and then I got a call like a couple of days later that Cleveland wanted to sign me, and I wasn't even thinking like that. But you know, T. Lou's one of my best friends.
Right.
He kind of like vouched for me and was like, listen, I need somebody like him on my bench who's always prepared just in case things happen. Like if we're not gonna sign a young guy. If I'm gonna sign somebody, I want to sign him. Right. So they ended up calling me and I ended up going down there and I was familiar with Kai, JR, Kevin Love, Bron. Like I had already had all their respect because of competing against them and just like everyday life. Like we all knew each other in some capacity. So it just all fit.
Right, right. What was that? What was that like, man? Going through that run and winning that championship.
That was crazy because that's like a second season inside of a season. You know what I mean,
Right,
like that's like 30, 40 games. But it's like an intense one. Like the 82 before that was spread out, and it was just you just going through ebbs and flows, they're going through the motion. But that 30, 40, like everybody's together every day,
right,
hours a day on the road, like building bonds, chemistry, studying.
right,
So that joint was it was epic because like it was a team just like my Denver Nugget team. Everybody used to go out together.
right,
You get 10, 12 people at a dinner. You go out and let off steam together. Like you just do things as like a real unit. It's like a real family.
right,
And it was super cool because you had great leadership from like T. Lou as far as the coach, as the players, and Brian and Kai was dope. Our general manager David Griffin was awesome.
mhm,
So like we had a whole bunch of good personalities around it, so that when it got like tough, when we was
right,
down 3-1,
right,
it didn't bother anybody. It was just business as usual.
right,
We stayed together, stayed as a tight unit, and then we figured it out.
right. And you was a seasoned vet at that point.
Yeah.
Playing with LeBron, man. What is it like? I know a lot of people. It just seems like, when LeBron step on the court, those lights shine a little bit brighter. Just get a little bit hotter. What is it like? You know what I mean. What is it like? What's
It's
that
like a
atmosphere
circus.
for?
Everywhere he go, the cameras go. Right.
Okay,
I've seen him walk down a block, and I've seen a woman leave her family, her husband and kids, to run up on him and tell him he love her. Right. Like
right,
it's just different. It's a lot of pressure, but like if you used to it, it's just like pressure bust pipes, pressure make diamonds. Like it makes some people nervous, it makes some people take them to a whole nother level of playing. So like that type of scrutiny
right,
only gets me going. So I was with it.
right,
But he just has been competing against him for like the 12 years before that. Like you kind of build up a hater's mentality,
right,
like normal media right now, right? Like he cheating,
right.
he this, he's that, and then once you get like as his teammate,
Mm,
it's a total opposite. It's kind of like my interaction with Coach K. Like just the perceptions of what when you see people successful, our natural reality is to hate or find some pick it apart.
right,
But once you get up close with them, you find out they're not cutting any corners. They're not taking no shortcuts. They live and breathe the game of basketball. They're
right,
doing everything that's necessary to be successful. And that's what the case was for him. His dedication, his his ways of staying prepared, like
right,
take him to that next level
right,
on top of his God-given abilities. Like I've played with a whole bunch of people who are superstars just because of talent, but like he goes that extra mile, whether he sleeps basketball, he eats basketball, his nutrition, his weightlifting. He first person in the gym 6 a.m. with his
right,
personal trainer,
right,
trying to get an edge on everybody else. He's doing, if they tell you to ice, cryo chamber, or get a massage, he's doing all three. You know what I
right,
mean? Like he's spending time on his body, and that's what he's doing extra conditioning. If y'all thought y'all ran after practice, he gonna run, he gonna shoot, and then he gonna get on the versa climber too. Like he's just trying to always get an edge and be prepared for taking over.
right. What is Bron like as a person, like outside of basketball?
Uh, he's just like us. He's a normal dude
Right,
who cares about people. You know what I mean? Like he's not afraid to just be nice and to be selfless at times. Like he's just a
right,
normal good dude, and that's what I appreciate about him because he's always trying to help people. He's always trying to show people that he appreciates them.
right,
And as men, we're so competitive, and our egos are so big that sometimes we think that makes us soft. But he's
right,
always trying to keep his teammates engaged and show them that he appreciates them and show them that like he's there for them. He's always he has a friendship that he develops with each one of his teammates.
right, right. Man, take you down memory lane, man. What was it like? Now I know every time I saw you and Kobe on the same floor, you was always guarding Kobe, man.
Right.
What was that like? You played against him in his prime. Kobe was that deal. What was that like as a player playing against him?
Kobe was like one of my idols, right? So MJ, Kobe, Ray Allen,
Right,
those were the guys that I looked up to at my position. Like I had picked out guys who Ray Allen, Milwaukee Ray Allen was Kobe, Seattle
right,
Ray Allen was Kobe, MJ, he goes without, and then Kobe was like right above me as far as like he's like 2 years older than me, but
right,
like you got to watch him from day one.
right,
So every time I got a chance to compete against him, like it's like how you compete against your big brother. You looked up to him. You're going dumb hard because that's the standard that you're trying to get to. So
Right.
he competed hard. I competed hard. I think one of the best things about Kobe is that like he never said a word. He never talked crazy. He's just always about his business. He's always ultra focused. He
Right.
never was not necessarily cocky with it. He
Right.
was confident, but he was never like overly boisterous and just running his mouth. Like he was
Right.
always laser focused on business, the task at hand, and
Right.
competing.
Right.
And I'm gonna compete as hard as I can. He got help from the refs, but that was the worst part about it. But I just came in every situation to battle and to use our game plan. So each team had different game plans.
Right.
And I remember in Denver, like we just had like a bullies mentality. Like we were kind of like Detroit Pistons-ish mentality. Like we were gonna be more physical than you and
Right.
see if you could handle it. So he could handle it, but he just kind of like he would just wait till he was so strategic. He would wait till my time is up.
Right.
Because he figured out that I had a window with George Carr. George Carr had me on like a 9-minute game shift window,
Right.
8 to 9 minutes. So he would just wait out that 8-9 minutes before he went, and then take advantage of the other people. Like you go at JR and Anthony Carter and
Right.
and Melo dumb hard. But he's okay. You gonna be physical and you gonna do all that? Okay. I'm just gonna get everybody else involved and I'm gonna move the ball. I may take a couple shots.
Right.
But then I'm gonna really turn on when you get out the game, and I couldn't do anything about it because George was just stuck on his game plan. So we competed hard, got physical at times, but that's just the nature of basketball. But the love was always there.
Right.
I never hated him, never had any animosity towards him. All utmost respect. Like he was the greatest competitor I've ever played against. So
Right. Right. When was the last time you saw him?
last time I saw him was like 3 months before he passed at his daughter's basketball game because we both coaching AAU. So I was coaching my 7-year-old and my 14-year-old, and he was coaching his daughter at a tournament in Cali.
Got you.
And my son walked up to him, and he was just like, dopest dude in the world.
Right.
Embraced all of them. The kids on my team. I think one of my other coaches, my coach Sam, idolized Kobe, loved Kobe. And introduced him, and like that's like a moment that he has for the rest of his life because Cole was just normal in the corner, just sitting there, just talking to kids. Like it was dope.
Right. Where was you at when the news broke, and how'd you find out?
I was in the house. I was on FaceTime with my 14-year-old, and he said it, and I got a text from my cousin Eugene, and he was like, "Yo, is this true?" And he had my cousin had sent it to me and him.
Okay.
So. He said it as I was reading it, and I was like, let me check this. And I started looking on social media, and then he started crying, and that kind of like that's where like that day started with like the emotions of like one of the greatest basketball players ever had passed away, and we were just hoping that it wasn't true, just because the way our media is sometimes, like fake news can jump out there, and then as information started coming in, like everybody in my house just started like it was kind of one of the worst days.
Right. Right, definitely. It's like a superhero died for sure.
Yeah, man, for real. Like Superman died, and what we gonna do now?
Yeah, what you gonna do with that? Last question, cousin. What are you doing now? I mean, I know we see a lot. I see you a lot on ESPN. See you on some Fox shows. I know you do commentating. What's going on with you now? And tell me a little bit about family life post basketball.
So now, as you said, I do some commentating, ESPN, NBA TV, some Fox stuff. But that's me being connected to the game that I love. Like basketball ended, but I still get the opportunity. I'm blessed with the opportunity to be able to talk about basketball, and they value my opinion on different channels. So I still do that when the opportunities present itself. But my main line of business is I have a company that I manage a partner in. It's called Pearl Homes. And when I finished basketball, I was looking into business. That's what my degree is in. And I wanted to be in the business world in some capacity, but I didn't just want to like just print money. I wanted to be able to help people, right? So I was looking at like fast food chains and things of that nature, and they were cool, but I wanted to have like a social impact. And always wanted to own buildings. Like I walked around New York City and like, I want to buy that building. Not having the capital too. So I started learning about real estate, and we started a company where we kind of got centralized in real estate. We're trying to build workforce affordable housing for the people that need adequate housing, need a house that they can be proud of,
Right.
need certain facets that they should have, not because they're getting priced out of it. So now we make multifamily workforce and affordable housing for like the teachers and nurses and doctors and firefighters. Like, they deserve to have housing that's dope right near where they work at. And so now we've committed ourselves to try and provide housing, workforce housing across the country.
Got you, man. So, your kids are involved in sports. What are your kids doing?
5 kids. My oldest is 14, is Tanner. He's immersed in basketball, super dope athlete, good student.
Okay.
I have 2 daughters, Zoe and True, who are one's gonna be 13, another one's gonna be 12. Zoe's is in the arts, so she's in acting and singing. True is a soccer player, but she's a great student. I got a 7-year-old DJ who is super into basketball, good kid, animal. And then I got a 2-year-old Dylan who is just potty training right now, and that's what life is during this coronavirus, trying to potty train a 2-year-old and help a 7-year-old get through second grade in a time like this. Right.
Man, I know I said one more question. I'm gonna ask you one more thing. If you had to give any advice to any kid that's coming up, that's playing the game, what advice would you give them with all the stuff that you've seen?
The advice that I would give any kid coming up is to don't be afraid to make your dreams or your goals way bigger than what your understanding is, right? So the dudes that I've seen that do like unimaginable things have made that their goal from the door. I watched a young Paul George who was super inspirational from the door. Him being a 6'9", 180-pound kid from Fresno, from Palmdale, California. It's like, listen, in 3 years I'm gonna be an all-star. And it didn't match up to what he was at that point in time, but he had set that goal and he did it in 2. You understand what I'm saying? So what I've learned throughout this lifetime is that the people who set crazy goals most of the time accomplish them. And you watch your brother who has set some crazy goals that just look like they weren't attainable at the time, like being in Jersey. Did you ever think that he would be #1 player in the country?
Absolutely not.
And go from high school to college, like being up on a daily basis with him, but he had it in his mind and was stubborn, and he made that his goal and he accomplished it. And what I've seen by being involved in successful people in business, basketball, just everyday life, they set crazy goals that they believed in. And if you believe in it, you can achieve it. And I know it sounds a lot corny, but once you set that goal, you set your life up to attain the goal. And if you miss it, then you'll just miss it by a little bit. And if you set your goal to be worth $1 billion, if you miss it by 200 million, you're worth 800 million. Like, you only get what you try to achieve, basically. So set those goals super high. Set those goals and stuff that people would laugh at you for wanting to do, and that's how you do something and be really successful in life.
Man, we appreciate that. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for watching this. This is a day in the life with Tay. had to make it kind of funny because my cousin was crazy. But
thank try to be normal as possible for you today.
Man, you did a good job. Thanks for coming on, Dahntay. We appreciate you.
Of course.
Breaking news, very sad news to tell the sports world. The LA Times is reporting that retired Los Angeles Lakers basketball star Kobe Bryant has been killed in a helicopter crash.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch switch up. Look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began.
You know we started.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
I'll tell you.
When I see you again.
Kobe Bryant has hit a shot at the buzzer! Has to put it up at the buzzer. Banks it in! Oh, he banks in the three! 81-point game.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong. And what's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond. And that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn. And that line is what we reach, so remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last
So
ride.
let the light guide your way.
Shot clock is down to 5. Bryant goes to work. Bryant the drive. Kobe Bryant on a rack attack.
And every road you take will always lead you home. Oh, it's been a long day without you.
Lakers
my
down
friend.
1. Will Kobe give them one last gamer? Bryant on the move with the jumper. He got it!
Way from where we began.
60.
Oh, I'll tell